Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Side Jag, the show where we talk about whatever the hell we want, basically. But we are going
Not
to be,
basically.
yeah,
I
we do.
think it's fully.
Yeah, it's fully. It's no, basically. Technically, basically. No, tonight we're going to talk about the documentary Waco, along with whatever else just happens in our lives that we feel we need to talk about. What's going on, Mr. Hifivega?
Man, I have a topic right off the back,
Hit
or
it.
maybe just a discussion.
Bring it.
So, have you seen the new Rode Wireless Go Me?
No.
All right, so it's just like it's not just like the two. So the Wireless Go 2 has 3 units, right? Two
Yes.
mics, one receiver.
Yes.
This unit is $150 cheaper, so it's only $150.
Great.
Has two mics.
Yeah.
One of the mics is a receiver.
Ah.
So you can have it on camera. It'll be on camera wherever you mount it.
Right.
The receiver and a mic, and then you get another mic. This one does not have the onboard recording, which sucks. But it
Never used
does
that feature.
have. I wouldn't either. I always record on camera, but it has a normalizer of sorts.
Okay. Levelizer.
So yeah, so it'll automatically take the high and the low and level them
Okay.
out, and
Compressor.
it and it
Got a compressor
it
built into it.
right, and it actually works. Like I've seen a couple of the big DSLR video shooter was one of them that done it, and he was just showing it off with versus a wireless Go 2, this mic, and I seen it was $150. I was like, yeah, I'm buying it right now. I watched like 2 or 3 videos, so it should be here soon. I can let you know how it works out.
So since we're talking about that, I actually just bought the DJI versions of the
Mm,
wireless mics for a couple reasons. One, you can use it with an Osmo 6. So the problem you run into is if you want to use mics with a steady cam, you can't because it's an external cable. So the receiver actually has a port on the back that you slide a lightning or a USB-C jack into, and then it plugs right into the bottom of the phone so that you can then
yeah,
put it onto the gimbal. And the display faces you. Oh, crazy idea. So that you can
yeah,
actually see what's happening while you're wearing your cool mics. The mics use a magnet and a clip. So like you can clip them on like the Rhodes, but you can also, it comes with a metal plate and it's magnetic. So you
yeah.
can put them wherever you want on your shirt.
That's a $30 add-on for the Rode. You can
Yeah,
do
no, it's
that with the Rode,
included.
but for 30 extra.
And then the case, it's kind of like a set of Apple or earbuds. So all
Mhm.
the pieces go into the case, and the case charges the system.
Yep.
So it's like $350, but I was like, and it's like this little cool. I was like, fuck it, I'm buying those. Um,
Yeah.
so I bought those.
Yeah, and they're smaller than the Rode.
Yeah,
A lot of big people use those too. I've seen those used everywhere on YouTube, so
I
the
just
quality seems just
so
as
now I
good.
have. It sucks because now I have 3 sets of lavaliers. I have a giant, the big old school set, with the
Right.
garage door opener size, click click, but that set's cool because we have a mic, but we also just have the small rig makes the lavalier mics where it has a cold shoe, sideways cold shoe that you just slide the wireless into and put a
Yeah.
foam over the top, and it's I was like, what the frick are we gonna do with all these things? Like,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, it's
yeah,
because I have the Deity now, but it's just a single. The main reason I bought the Rode is for the dynamic because there is
yeah.
times where I'm speaking lower or I get like if something happens in the video, I get louder,
Yeah,
so it'd be nice to just run the dynamic compressor
I have
and you get
so I have
normalized.
soft I have software. I have Levelizer, the software,
Yeah.
and it does a freaking awesome job because when we redo Monday when we put out the Instagram when we re-release all the Instagram shows, Fernando's usually farther away, so he's always quieter. So this
Yeah.
levels out our two volumes, so it's really nice. But
I'd probably do the same thing if I was using Final Cut because then I'd already be on the Mac but I'm not a fancy boy.
Yeah. Sorry. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just hit go. And that's one of the quicker edits, although it's one of the longest. Like, it just sits over in the corner and cooks. Like, you just hear the fans go, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, "Ha, bitch, just deal with it." Gotcha.
That
So,
since we're talking about this, have you seen the stabilizing software for Sony cameras?
no, I'm sure it's wonderful.
So they use there's a gyro in every one of the, even this little Sony camera, there's a gyro in here, right?
Right.
So it takes the gyro data and gives you like gimbal like footage just hand holding it.
Right.
But depending on how, if you go too aggressive, you get the crazy wobbles.
Yeah, or the crop.
But you'll get like a 10% crop.
Yeah.
And if you go like low to medium, your footage will look fine. But it'll take pretty janky footage and make it
Which is
watchable.
So here's the dilemma in life. Like, you just picked up the Sony point shoot. That one's like $350, $450, somewhere in that range, right?
This one's $800.
Okay, so yeah, which is stupid because
it's crazy expensive for this.
Yeah. And like, I was looking at the G5 from Canon, which is their version of that, and it's $1,000 for point shoot, and you're like, it's got a great like 1.2 lens, but it's on a CMOS sensor, so it's really not. It's more like a 2.4. So I get it, but so here, like, the problem I have is that the phone is so convenient. Like, a lot of footage we still shoot on the phones when we're on site, and it does okay. It doesn't do as good as a bigger sensor. But sometimes it's just like, oh crap, I need to get this, and it's just like, you film it. And as long as you have it, it's only going to YouTube, so who cares? But it's one of those things where it's like, we got all these cameras, turn the fucking button on. Oh, well, it's in a rig, Oh, so what is that? So it's like, you got your push pull rig, you got your Steadicam rig, you got your interview rig with a handle and a big microphone, and it's like, I just need a camera, like just B-roll. So it's like, okay, so do I have to get B-roll cameras that just hang from our belts, And so it's like, we were talking about that today, because it's bugging me, because it's like, as much as I love using the phone, it's also like, there's certain times, like for a client, we need real footage, not phone footage. But we get it on the phone because it's like, it's there, it's like instant on, take a pic, because it's like, it's like, oh, I'm videotaping that quick, whereas that it's like, it's gotta, and you're like, oh, the moment's over. So,
well, the dirty secret is, between these two, most people will never see the difference on the quality between these two.
Right.
No. I can see it because I'm editing the footage, but the only reason that I have this, and I paid $800, well, I think it might be $750, is because it gives me a little bit better optical zoom range and just control in general.
Yeah.
Like, I control the ISO, I can control my levels for audio. I can control the shutter speed. That's the only reason I use it, because the footage is basically indistinguishable.
Yeah, which there again, you can still do all that on your phone.
Yeah, but I hate that Filmic Pro app.
What's that?
That Filmic Pro app.
Well, B-Script does it too.
Do they?
Yeah.
Rode just came out with one too.
Yeah,
that's.
But it's like, dude, we have all this equipment. Just like, okay, so I give you a camera and put a 20 millimeter pancake on it, because it's not like you're zooming. Like, you're not zooming with your phone. You're walking up and you're taking fucking B-roll. Just grab the other camera. What the hell?
And I still use all my B-rolls shot with the phone.
Yeah, it's just annoying.
Just because, like you said, I already have this on the tripod set up for a certain shot.
Well, like, and there again, you have limited cameras. Do we show up with 5 fucking cameras, sometimes 6 cameras? and that's just the video kind. And then just like, my plan is this: now that Canon has come out with like R is it, like R is what we're going to. There's going to be nothing else but R. So I'm gonna, the next couple years we're just switching everything over to R.
Are you gonna get the 8?
Probably get the 8, get a 10, get them all. I just gotta have them all. The biggest problem I have right now with the R body is they don't make this. They're all this, this. We need this. So until they come out with an R that does this, they're fucked. Because they need that body. Because this is terrible. This is great if I'm doing B-roll and I want to see it, but I'm just going to flip it onto there and just do it that way. But for vlogging, I need this. So it's like we're always going to have like a 6 or a 100 or 200, because that's our main. When you're 3 feet away from it and the camera is in the screen is 2 inches off to the side, your eyes are just in the wrong spot.
This is the 200. And the only thing I didn't like about the flip up screen is if I wanted to use an outboard mic with it, then you got to have some kind of cage or something.
Well, the 200 doesn't even have a mic though. Does it have a mic input? I don't think the 200 has a mic. Because the 100 doesn't.
So I'm thinking of the M6 then.
Yes. So the M6. Yes, in there again, mine just has a handle on it, and the mic sits off to the side. So which is fine, but there again, it's not convenient because now it's. But if I was just shooting in the bay, then the 6 would be fine because I don't need a mic attached to it to shoot in the bay.
Yeah, it's like this one. The mic on this Sony is actually pretty good. As long as there's not a bunch of noise going on around you, then it's fine.
Yeah, and you're 3 feet in.
Yeah.
So, or if you have a boom mic, you can be 6 feet.
Yeah. But, 3 extra feet.
All right, let's talk about Waco.
Waco.
All right, so I'm gonna let you go first, as always.
All right.
What are your? I mean, the reality is we know the outcome. Okay, it's a documentary,
right.
So there's really not much to talk about as far as the event itself, other than to just say, "Damn."
Right.
Let's talk about the documentary then, the nuts and bolts of the documentary. What did you feel about that?
Well, see, that's where I can't distinguish whether I love the documentary, but I don't know if it's because I'm just like heavily involved with the Waco story. It's the first story I remember. I think I was 12 or 13 when this happened.
Okay.
And it's the first thing as like a teenager or tween or whatever you want to call it, where I had my own thoughts about something that happened.
Okay.
It wasn't coming from my parents. So to me, I was just like, wow, my thought, but this is one of the first thoughts I remember thinking as an adult thought is like, man, the world's just not really a fair place. That's one of the things I thought because
that's what you thought. Okay.
Yeah, because up until that point, that never crossed my mind, and then because even at that age, I knew it's like okay, this guy is insane. He is an insane cult leader, but then these people just murdered 80 people through their actions. It's like
a lot of people died.
Which they would say is inevitable, and it probably was. It was going to end that way. Pretty much almost anywhere they went,
That was the one point in the documentary they made early on was that, the belief that they had was this was going to happen. And so at that point they were kicking the hornet's nest. Like they were basically goading the government to do this. And if you there again, I no, but the way the documentary, and that's all I can attest to, is that the documentary was like they say, hey, this is what he thinks is going to happen, and this is what he's preaching, and eventually that gets out. Well, the government is going to have to do something about it because when the UPS guy saw the grenade, he was like, shit,
Yeah.
I need to report this. So there was a couple of things that they glossed over, which I thought was kind of funny because like the grenade, like the UPS guy and the grenade thing. It's like,
Right.
that was an important piece of information. Like that this is all right. So one of the
That's what set the whole thing off.
yeah. Like
Yeah.
that to me was like, oh, fuck. Like never knew that. Never knew that's how they realized up until that they probably had no idea who the fuck this guy was, what was going on. You know, the Branch Davidians were probably just some little list of cults throughout the United States. You could turn to page 200 and go, yeah, these guys. There's like 80 members.
Right.
You know, McDonald's hires more people in this one store, so who cares? You know, and then the other thing that I was kind of shocked over was how did the news guys, who leaked it to the news guys?
Right.
Okay,
Like, and
because
even like you are the news guys, there is literally a war going on there. This is not average like gang shooting type stuff. This is a war
well, no, but
scene.
that first
And they're
news
there.
guy,
Like, I'm out. Like, if I'm the news guy, like, I'm
yeah,
out. Like,
those guys were nuts.
forget
But
this
who
job.
tipped those guys off? Like, you know,
Yeah.
somebody tipped that camera guy off, and you know that led the whole. Whoever tipped off the camera guy, that guy, I want to know who that guy is because he's the
I
reason.
thought they were insinuating that the Branch Davidians did that in the
Mm-mm,
documentary.
So
Because that's how I always took it.
no, so so how they told it in the documentary was when they brought in that first news guy, he said he got a call from his camera guy, and his camera guy was like, "Hey man, what are you doing? Get your shit, meet me here." And then the other guy that came and talked to the post office guy was like, "Hey, where's this place at? You know, why?
Yeah.
Oh, because they're gonna do a raid on it this morning. Oh shit!" So he drives back and tells them, "Hey, we're gonna get raided. Arm up, bitches. It's gonna happen. Here we go." And everyone's get their guns. So, and then they find out that, oh, they know we're coming. Let's go anyways. Like, whoa, hold on. Reverse the gears to the point to where we first interview the news guy that says, my camera guy called me to say, hey, this was going to happen. How did that guy find out? Because whoever told the camera guy, in my mind, is responsible for everything. Because that telling him set forth this whole disaster, you know?
Yeah.
Because if that guy would have never known, it would have gone off without a hitch. We wouldn't even be having this conversation. Movie would have never existed.
Because
they would have stormed the place.
The USPS guy. Yeah.
Yeah. They would have stormed the place. They would have been successful. You know, some shit would have gone off, you know, flashbangs, booyah, whatever. And it was, yay, you know, go government. But
yeah,
those news guys, whoever told them, fucked it up for everybody. We never talked about that. They just said, hey, did no one think that? Who called you? Like, you know.
But see, that's why I think I got mixed media because I've listened to a podcast about this, watched several documentaries. So what I remember them saying, and it wasn't in this, because now I remember how it went in this documentary. But what it was they seen the guys at the ranch house.
Yeah.
This is from the podcast, I believe it was, or another.
Right.
They seen the guys at the ranch house. They knew they were surveilling them. The Branch Davidians called the news, hoping to avoid what was going to happen with the ATF. This is via the podcast, so
okay,
it's different. That's what they say. That doesn't mean it's true. That's just what they said on the
again,
podcast.
maybe there's no way to substantiate any of it because, well, everyone's dead on the other side and they're not talking on this side. So, but
well, the things I did like about this is they brought actual people that were in there, actual Branch Davidians that were in there.
Yes,
they let them.
I think they played a really good job of ping pong.
Oh yeah, they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the one chick still believes it. The blonde one.
Oh, she's nuts.
Dude, do you think she's? I think I was because like Cassie typically does not watch documentaries. She's not into them. She was like in this one fully. We watched them all three last night, and I was just turning to her like, "Do you think the blonde chick still believes this?" It's like, yeah, totally. I think she's still 100% in.
Oh, she went in. Whew.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus Christ had sex with her, so
Dude, yeah, that got weird, man. That was, I mean, I'm glad that they told that story, but it was just so
I think they found the
strange.
perfect people to like the big guy that was
Yeah.
the drummer, because you could tell he could have he it's like,
Yeah. It was a
hey
gig.
man,
It was like they're giving him free housing. He's
yeah,
playing in the band with them, free meals.
yeah, it was a place to hang
He
out.
obviously likes them, he thinks they're cool or whatever, but
Yeah,
he's not fully in. He's like,
yeah, yeah.
okay,
Yeah, yeah, you
uh,
can keep the guns and the grenades and the whole sleeping with the women thing, like, you can keep all that. I'm just here for the 3 squares, the bed, and,
yeah,
playing drums, bro. Smoking
yeah.
way good weed, because they were smoking some serious good weed there, man.
Oh, probably acid and everything else. Who knows?
Oh, fuck yeah, man. That had to be the best place. I mean, uh, I like, everyone should have anyone that goes into any form of like government service that involves a gun and like you should watch this, like, because this is like showing. So I thought it was funny because it was just showing how you had the one guy that was brought in. So the ATF, if so the ATF never really got to serve their warrant, um and
Uh, probably. Who
probably.
knows?
But the FBI got brought in because the 4 guys got killed. Okay,
Mhm.
so at the end of the day, it went from trying to serve a warrant on weapons to 4 guys were killed, so we're investigating a murder. All right.
Yeah.
So and that was a subtle change that, like, okay, um this
That's
just took.
that's what they told in this story that isn't told in other stories, where the ATF, they didn't say this, but they were like, they were outmatched when they went in there. They thought they were gonna go in there and just like, "Hey, we're gonna shut it down, get the
Yeah.
guy, not harm anybody. We're taking him out and it's
Yeah.
done." And they found out that when he got the warning, they were prepared and the ATF was clearly outmatched,
Well, yeah, you got
on
9
in that
millimeters
position.
going up against assault rifles.
Yeah,
Like,
and a 50 cal, a Barrett 50 cal,
yeah.
like armor
Yeah.
piercing bullets and stuff like.
Yeah. And so it was there again, it was like I feel like if I remember properly from back then, I don't think the the differentiation between what the ATF was there for and what the
Yeah,
FBI was there for were 2 totally different things. The FBI was a reaction to what happened. So at
yeah,
that point, and then what I just thought was wonderful was the breakdown in the FBI, where you had tactical hostage negotiation and the guy in charge of all of it that really just was lying to both sides. It seemed like, he
yeah.
was telling negotiators to be like, hey, just keep doing what you're doing. He's telling the tech guys, get ready to kill this motherfucker, and then you had the idiots driving the tanks all over the place. And it was like,
Dude.
what is going on here, man? It's
And
like,
they start playing the music and running over their damn cars and stuff.
oh
It's like,
yeah,
jeez,
like
dude.
that. So here's where I think it's all fucking stupid. Okay, and
Yeah,
this kind of comes back to when you were talking about you lost your DSP tune. Okay, in the end, they blew the building up. Okay, so
yeah,
you know, clearly they were ready to burn themselves, because I mean that was part of their
yeah.
doctrine. They're going to go down burning in flames. So there had to be piles of shit to set on fire. Um,
Hmm.
and so you have these guys. This is not, we are not raiding you. We're just pumping in tear gas. It's like,
With
oh, is this
tanks.
semantics? What do I mean? Technically, yes,
Yeah,
you are raiding us.
yeah.
You're not bringing people in. You're just sending in a big tank. So you're
Hmm.
driving a tank into the front of the house, which is basically what they said was going to happen. So maybe this guy was friends with Nostradamus. You know?
That's the whole, that's what I was telling Cassie. Like, is everything he said was, now he made a lot of this happen from his
Yes.
actions, but
Yeah. Yeah.
everything he said was going to happen. Can you imagine, like,
Right.
you're already on the fence. You're like somewhat a believer, and then everything he's told you is happening exactly the way he told you.
But
Like,
he
you're just
played it
digging in.
well. He played it
Yeah,
well
he did.
because, dude, they had a Barrett. So there again, they knew he had a Barrett. And he says, "I'm gonna pop." He goes crazy and says, "I'm gonna pop holes through your Barretts." It's like, okay, well, we need vehicles to get around your shit yard, so send me tanks.
Yeah,
And so the tanks show up, and it's like,
yeah,
you bring 4 tanks, man. Like, they're not just gonna sit there; they're gonna tear
yeah,
shit up. It's a tank, you know.
yeah,
I- and then the guys, these tanks could drive right through this building, one side to the other, and not stop. Yeah, it's a tank. That's why they're
yeah.
for war and not sir. I mean, at that point, you should just tape the warrant onto the front of the tank, drove the barrel of the tank through the door, and go, "We're here to serve this warrant. Come out with your hands up," you know,
Yeah.
and just fire around through the house. I mean, any sane person would have walked out the fucking door, been like, "Oh no, fuck this, I'm out," you know, like,
Well, it all boils down to Star Wars. You know how?
okay,
Who shot first?
oh yeah, who shot first?
Who shot first? I still think that someone on the ATF shot first. From just a bunch of the things that I've watched and how he closes the door so quickly, I think they might have shot somebody or shot at something, but it seems like the ATF, somebody got a little antsy and shot a fire off.
Yeah, but okay, and there again, man. You're when you think of the '90s, okay,
Yeah,
and you think Dirty Harry, Dirty Harry cop stuff. Like, if you're a cop or a law enforcement officer of any type, and you open a door and there's somebody there with a machine gun, okay, bad things are gonna happen no matter what.
yeah,
Okay, because you're not going to think twice. You're popping caps off because that
hmm,
gun is in their hands. The next thing it's going to do is going to be bullets downrange. So back in the '90s, you're going full on stupid with these guys. There's no question about it. I mean,
yeah,
they should have taken those personnel carriers and just, which they didn't have then. Like, it was just dumb. The whole thing was dumb. I mean, there was from the very get go when they said go, and they shouldn't have, you know. And like
yeah,
and he wasn't wrong, but he's like, dude, why are you doing this? You could have easily picked me up on the streets. Like, they could have white vanned his ass. And that was one of the
yeah,
things they talked about back in the '90s. Like, they could literally have white vanned his ass and avoided everything,
hmm,
because you get the leader, it's over. That was the one thing the sniper was saying. It's like, I could have shot him right there and ended the whole thing,
yeah,
because he's dead. No one else would have died. They had all come out. Like, yeah, you're right. You know,
yep. But
Uh,
he was willing to, since they didn't do that, he was willing to let every one of his people die. Now, also this question: do you think he actually believed what he was saying, or do you think he was just a straight up con man, or a mix of the two?
see, that was the question they asked in there. That, like,
Yeah,
did he really believe that? I honestly think he believed it.
yeah. I think he was kind of a mix. I think he was also a con man, but he did also believe it.
Yeah, but if you're a con man, eventually you just start believing your own shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, if everyone is telling you how great you are and you're doubting it, eventually you're just, oh fuck, everyone says I'm great. I'm great. You know.
yeah,
I mean, and you can only say, I mean, like, dude, it's too hard to like, when your followers are living with you, like,
yeah.
that's on 24/7, bro. Whoo, damn.
Nope.
That's straight crazy shit there, because I mean, you're literally going, "Hey man, listen, here's how this works. You can't have sex with your wife anymore. She has to have sex with me only."
Dude,
Okay.
that like who's signing when I every iteration of that I listen to this story and that goes on, like who's signing up for that? And there's like, yeah, okay, I
Well,
guess that's fine.
that was like that girl, the other girl, whose dad, was the mailman or
Yeah,
whoever that was that ends up dying. Um, her mom was like, "I'm out of here.
like no, I'm out.
Fuck
Yeah,
that." You know. And I think that was one of the only things I think that was kind of missing from this was other branch, like if they could have found like a good example of a Branch Davidian that was like, I got the fuck out of there, man. You know, like this is,
Right.
you know, kind of like the chick from King of Queens is with the Scientologist.
Scientology, yeah.
You know, where she's just like, here's all the dirt. You know,
Yeah.
this is ridiculous. You know, but
And
if you could have
they
found,
have had them, just not in this documentary. Like
yeah,
they didn't go in deep on this one on the old lady Lois or whatever that led the
oh, the
place.
original, right?
Yeah, so the lady that led the place when he came there, and he kind of they said, you know, he seduced her, which he did. But in the podcast, they kind of go on a lot deeper about that, tell about that, and then the struggle between the son of that woman
Yeah,
when they go to take over, who is also a psycho gun crazy dude. Like they basically have a shootout
yeah.
between them
Well,
to go to
yeah,
jail prior to all that.
yeah. Well, that was 10 minutes of this documentary.
Right.
I
Which they
think
didn't have enough time to go deep into it
well, and
without
I
making it
think the
too long.
purpose of this documentary was to just show all the shortcomings of the government. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, don't get me wrong; they ping pong back and forth, like I said, really well between like. But at the end, it was just like you could have just gone down by the numbers, every mistake that they made,
Yeah.
and like, and that was the thing. I was, you know, it's like 50 days.
That's absurd how
I
long
mean,
it
after
was.
2 weeks, you guys should have just pulled forward. And it's like, and I get it. There was kids inside. That was the
Yeah.
thing. That was, to me, out of all of the nonsense, the kids inside were what slowed this thing down. And he knew
Mhm.
that. So he, you know, he could really, if they had 50 kids and he released 49 kids, they still would have been slow because there's one kid inside. You
Mhm.
know, and I
Yep.
think that's what it was. I think out of all this, all of the dumb shit that they did, it was the kids inside that really hampered. Because if it had just been all adults, they would have
Oh
drove that
yeah,
tank
it would
right
have been
through that
over.
bitch and
Yeah.
called it a day.
Well, and then he kept sending videos of him with all the kids
Right.
to just kind of like egg it on. Like, hey, I still, yeah, I gave you 10 kids, but I still have 45 kids here.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm
So
sleeping with all of them that are over 12 years old. So just get over that too.
yeah, I
It's
know.
like, dude, that
That's
was.
ridiculous.
And then the blonde lady was like trying to defend it. Well, in our belief
Oh
system,
yeah, no shit.
I
God,
was
that chick was strange.
like, dude,
Stop talking.
yeah.
Just stop talking.
I mean, the people in the documentary are probably loving it. Like this chick
Oh,
is,
dude, I'd have been over there going,
yeah, like keep
get her some cigarettes. I don't care.
Yeah,
Brandy, keep her talking. This is fucking gold. Like, oh my
yeah,
god, dude, yeah. Oh yeah, he was fucking, and that's a good cereal. So, I mean, when you're interviewing somebody and they are talking and they want to talk, it's like just let. I'm just like, you know, when I go to somebody, you know, because a lot of times when you're interviewing somebody, you have to set it up. All right, I'm going to ask you this question and I need an answer. All right, so here are some answers you might want to use because you have to set them up. Most people don't know how to talk to a camera,
yeah.
let alone think to answer a question. So it's like, here's what I want to say to you, and here's what an appropriate answer to that is. Feel free to elaborate any way you want, you know. And some people, that was good, you know.
Yeah.
And she's just over there saying, you know, because I'm sure they asked, so what about him sleeping with kids? And she's like, let me tell you about that. And she just like, they're just like,
Yeah.
you getting all this? Fuck yeah. Like, dude, if she's your neighbor right now, you're like, who the fuck?
Exactly. We already watched that. Didn't we watch that for review? I think we did.
No, but I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
one big dumb bad. Plus, we got 2 weeks on this one because next week I'm doing the family trip to run some stuff with Haley, and so
Jeez.
I get okay, man.
Something swallowed something. Maybe it's some arsenic. Who knows?
Yeah.
Might have got
That's
me.
the only thing we're gonna have in this one.
Mhm.
Oh yeah. Well, all right. Closing thoughts. What are your thoughts on it?
I thought the documentary was really great. It showed a lot of stuff that hasn't been showed before in a different light. Didn't cover everything, but I think it was enough. It wasn't too long. 3 40-minute episodes went by quickly. It was enjoyable, and I think they just overall done a really good job of showing like not only were the Branch Davidians that were in there were like sad that this happened, but also the guys on both sides, the guys that were the negotiators, the guys that done the killing basically, or the raid, were also sad that it happened. So I think it was a good balance overall.
Yeah, I this was definitely a well put together. This is one of those where they paid the right people to make the right video.
Yeah,
He did a really good job on this documentary. Yeah, I
yeah,
mean, there's like one or two scenes where they actually have the camera off to the side and they're showing the setup for the interview with the camera and the lighting and all this shit.
hmm
And I was just like, oh wow. Like they're talking, they got this fucking cine lens in front of them that's like
yeah,
fucking huge. And I'm like, wow, they're talking to a basketball. Jesus
yeah.
Christ.
They're like a red cameras and shit set up.
Oh yeah, but the lens on that thing was like,
Yeah,
it's probably a 51.8, just cine lens that was like fucking
yeah,
incredible. But I think I loved it. It went by very fast. It was a great documentary, and it didn't change any feelings about the thing. Like I feel we
yeah,
all felt that the government fucked up. Um, but if they were gonna fuck up, this was definitely where you fuck up, because this guy
yeah.
was a this guy was all he there was something wrong with this whole scenario. Okay,
It
so there
was
was
it was only getting worse from where it was.
yeah there was as one of my phrases that I always tell. Listen, I can't break anything that's already broken. Like if you hand me something that's broken, it's already broken. Okay,
Yeah,
it's never going to be anything but broken. It might be broken into smaller pieces, but it's still broken. Okay, so it's not a whole. So that whole scenario was broken to begin with, and the government coming in and doing what they did wasn't going to change anything. It was still going to be broken. It just
right.
it got broken into more pieces, and people looked at it and it was like, no, this was bad. It just got worse. Okay.
Right.
But you had a guy that had weapons, grenades, doing things to kids that he shouldn't be doing by today's standards. Um, could they, so he was already weird,
Yeah.
but I don't
Well,
know.
this is one of the first like that I remember anyways. You probably have more insight on this. This is like one of the first big televised things that I
Well,
remember
no, it is. It is.
with the news. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you had Clarence Thomas hearings and you had this.
Yeah. And
People
then
carrying a coke can.
just after this you had the Rodney King and then the LA riots, which was that like 95 or 96?
Yeah, and that was crazy too. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and here's the sad thing in all this, not to go down that road, but like, dude, cops, like, you got body cams, bro. Live by the body cam. Live by the body cam. Don't do dumb shit. You
Yeah.
know, and it's the emotions. It's always the emotions. The emotions get over them. Because anytime these guys do something that's stupid, they
Yeah.
were in control of their emotions.
Oh yeah.
And they don't get taught how to control the inner, that emotion that is just stupid. It's like,
Yeah. And I think
yeah.
it's kind of like teachers with them. It's kind of like a pay thing. I don't think they get paid enough to get the kind of people that could handle that kind of job. Someone that would to have the bar raised high enough for someone that had that level of control with their emotions to deal with people and stuff.
Well, it's just, yeah, but that's what separates the good from the okay or the
Yeah.
bad. Like one of Haley's friends growing up, she's like, I want to be a teacher. I want to be a teacher. I'm like, why the fuck would you want to be a teacher? Like, it's the most thankless job ever. But they want to
Yeah.
be a teacher, and it's like, and they're good. Okay.
Yeah.
But if you settle on being a teacher, you're gonna suck because it's you settled.
hmm
You didn't go like, listen, I know I'm not gonna make great money. I know, but these are the perks, and they list off these crazy things, and you're like, okay, and this is why I do it. And it's like, oh, well, hey, that's great. It's like
Yeah.
with Haley going through the hospital, and like that is a job I'm so thankful that people do, because I cannot do it.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
know,
I would
listen to
never.
her. Yeah. Her
Yeah.
doctor comes in, he's like, so check this out. This is what I'm gonna do. And he's talking just like I'm talking about what I'm gonna do to your car. All right.
Yeah.
And he has that same intensity to, like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do this, we're gonna do all this, and it's gonna be fucking badass. Put some zip ties in this bitch, self-tapping screws. This thing's gonna be fucking awesome. I'm done. You're gonna be like, damn, who did that shit? That looks dope, bro. You know? And here's the pictures. That or just like these nurses and the care people, and it's like, I don't have that, and they don't make shit, but then again,
Yeah.
nobody else does either. So what's
Yeah.
the difference? Pick something that you think is cool and do it. We're all broke. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, 50 to 75 grand is 50 to 75 grand. If you're doing something you love to get paid that, fucking do it,
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just, you look at the situation you're in. If you're miserable, you're miserable. A
Yeah.
teacher, hey, if they're loving what they do, I mean, that was a cool thing. Like, you've met parent teachers and shit like that. There's always that teacher that was just like the coolest fucking teacher ever, and everybody liked that teacher. And then you had the teacher that nobody liked, and it was
Yeah.
just because they themselves were just miserable fucking people.
Yeah.
It's like, don't even get me started on that whole bullshit in Tennessee. Like, I don't understand that. Like, that fucking. I can't wrap my head around people's craziness. It doesn't, like, there's just certain things that I don't think. Like, why would you think that? I don't know.
People just it's it's groupthink, tribalism. They're not allowed to have a thought outside of the people that are in that are not allowed to have a thought outside of what their group thinks, or they'll be shunned, and then they don't think all the way with this side of the people, so they're shunned on this side. And then social media makes us think that these people on this side and these people on this side are the only people that live in this world. When in reality, they're about 15% on each side, and everyone else lives somewhere in the middle.
Well, it was funny because that brings up, and it's like Haley and I were talking about. We went to breakfast this morning after we dropped off our little guy, and we were talking about things that are involved in your life that seem like, wow, this is popular right now, and it's like, no, it's not. It's popular in your life, but it's not, though, because it's what you're being fed.
Yeah, because you don't even see every post that
Right.
your friends make. You see what they want you to see.
Right. Like, it's just what you're being fed. Like, I clicked on one thing about Donald Trump, and now I have to know everything that's happening with him. And I don't want to know, but it just keeps appearing. And the same thing with the governor here in the state. I clicked on one thing, and it was like, for 3 months, anytime he was it was like, Yahoo's serving me this shit. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care.
I was curious once. I was curious about this one specific thing.
Yeah. But I mean, but there again, it's also true, like, it just not in bad things like that, but in like hobbies. It's like, if you're into car audio, then things that are car audio related will pop. You'll notice,
Yeah.
But if you're not, then like the guy goes, wait, that's still a thing. Like, I didn't know people did that shit. Like JBL makes speakers. I thought they just made headphones. It's like, what world do you live in?
We all live in our own worlds.
Right. And that's just it. So, but you think there'd be a crossover between sanity, like a rational thought that, like, this is bad, but we know it doesn't. We know it doesn't, because there's still, we our store's next to a gun shop. So, we get some really interesting characters every now and then. And every now and then you unfortunately have to have conversations with them, and you're like, this is what he really thinks. Huh.
Yeah.
What am I missing?
Arm up. Yeah, I don't know.
Coming.
I feel like we're on the peak now of the craziness. What happened is a lot of people that were never on the internet and didn't know anything about the internet are now on the internet. So then you have the people that been on the internet who know what troll culture is.
Yeah.
And a lot of these people that are now doing it they've like embraced. We used to hate trolls on the internet. Now everybody's a troll on the internet,
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
and it's like
yeah, it's
because
weird.
back in the '90s, it's like you were shunned for being a troll. People still did it back then.
But I also look at it as there's that anonymity, yeah, whatever.
Yeah,
Where like you're Big Dick 123, and he's trolling your ass. It's Steve from The Office. Steve from The Office doesn't know you're Hanger Man 124, so he's trolling your ass. And then you guys get to work, and you have no idea, But
yeah.
they rely on that, you know. Okay, slow it down. Slow it down. It's not that show. It's not that show. Okay, not that show.
Although that was one of my favorite all-time memes, the thanks Obama memes that everyone
Oh,
was doing.
Jesus. Yeah. There again, I didn't catch any of those memes because I
Yeah,
don't get involved in that stuff. For me, it's,
yeah.
you know, just cameras and car stereo.
Dude, that's the one bad thing about the Facebook. That I started a second Facebook that wasn't just my true friends and family, but people that are on the internet. So now I've like waded through all their opinions and stuff, which I think Facebook kind of gets what I'm doing now because I don't see a bunch of their opinions
Right.
anymore.
No.
So I think that kind of refined it down like, oh, okay, this dude just wants to see them posting their speakers, them saying they went to
Oh, yeah, because you
on a
can't.
nature walk or something,
What you got? You got like 4,000, 3 or
yeah,
4,000.
5,000, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. See, I don't. I
Narrowed it.
yeah. I mean, I've gotten kind of pickier.
Yeah.
Every now and then someone gets the boot because they just like post dumb shit, and I'm like, But I look at it and go, most people don't have the quantity of people that we have, but
Right.
somehow I always see the same like 30 people, and it's like
It does kind of end up like that.
that's kind of weird because I know that these guys have to be doing something on there, but then
Yeah.
again, they might not be because I don't ever post shit,
Yeah.
because I can't. Like today, I was so there was something that one of the groups I'm in posted something, and I just wanted to light it up, and I was just
Oh
like,
yeah.
I can't do it. Damn it.
Do you ever
Sometimes
type? Sometimes I have to get out of my system. Sometimes I'll have to type a message and be like, "Okay, it feels better." Delete.
oh, I did that, but it still didn't help. I totally did that. I'm like, Fernando, you type something. They'll forgive you. They won't forgive me. They'll be like, oh,
They
Fernando
already
said.
think Dean's mean.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I am, but it's not a lie.
Oh man.
Like I said, I said to Metro today, they're like, well, we can't change something if you don't tell us. And I'm like, listen, I don't always want to be the bad guy.
Yeah. Let me
I
enjoy
don't want to have to
guys.
be like, let Tom be the bad guy for once. Fuck. Yeah.
Dude, going from one crazy person to the next, I fell in a rabbit hole this week. Have you ever heard of Chris Chan?
No.
Okay. So a podcast I listened to, one of the hosts was just constantly talking about it. It's like, what's the story with this? Because he didn't want to say because it's so, dude, it is so in depth and so weird. So there is a guy on YouTube. I can't think of his name right now. It's like Gordon something. You just type in Chris Chan documentary if you're curious.
Okay.
There's a ton of offensive stuff in this, so be prepared. So that's a trigger warning.
Okay.
But this dude, Chris Chan, is the most documented person on the face of the earth. So he started, and it is so weird, dude. It is so weird. I can't even explain it right. Now I know why this host is not giving you the whole story. He started. He's a dude with autism, but he's high function. Yeah, but he's high functioning autism, right?
Okay.
So he was like one of the first people to do a let's play type game, like in 2001. He would just do voiceover on a video game, like Animal Farm or whatever, posted on his website.
Okay.
So he was also like very homophobic, and just because he had really deep religious beliefs, at some point he ends up transitioning so he's transgender at some point, and
He's homophobic
it
and transgender.
and by the end of the story, he's also a incest and rapist at the end of the story, with his mother, who is um like with dementia. Okay, so he's in jail. He was in jail, got out, but there is like a 78-part series of everything this dude has done his whole life. Like, he documented, as himself documented, he either had a journal, he had home videos, he had the Game Boy. The first Game Boy had stop motion camera. He was doing a bunch of stuff on that. He had his own website that he built, and he literally documented everything in his life. He made a character that was called Pikachu, or it's like a Pikachu character. Sonic Chew is what it's called.
Okay.
And he was putting that all over the internet, and he was really popular. People were like totally trolling him at some point, but at first they were genuine fans. And it's just the strangest thing I've ever seen in my life. I've only watched part 1 and part 2 of the 70-something part documentary.
Is he the
But
one doing the documentary?
no, it's somebody else doing the documentary.
Oh,
I
somebody
don't know
else
how
got
they
their
got the footage. They
Oh,
don't say how they got the footage or all
probably gave
this.
it to him.
And I've only gone to part 2, right? So the only reason I know what happened in the end is because I watched another video where they explain in an hour, I think, video, beginning to end. I'll give you all the high notes. What happened? This happened. This
The
happened. This
Cliff
happened.
Notes.
This happened.
Yeah.
So, and there's so much lore built up around this guy. There's a complete Wikipedia page about him. He would always wear this Ralph Lauren polo shirt, like a field hockey shirt, striped.
Yeah.
This so deep in lore, they call that the classic. So that's the Chris Chan classic tee. And then they also, like, different clothing that he wore, they have it like names for it, specific things. And dude, it is just so for me, never hearing of this guy before in my life, I didn't know this word existed.
Yeah, he's an interesting looking dude.
Yeah.
Like,
And it's, dude, it is so, I fell down the rabbit hole, and
that
it is
doesn't
so
exact.
strange.
Who is Christian and what did she do?
Yeah, because they're
Wow.
saying after the transition. Yeah, Baba sums it up perfectly. Bizarre. It is very
Yeah,
bizarre.
I feel like you know, I've just been watching the Mandalorian. I mean,
Oh, I still haven't caught up because I'm waiting for it to end.
yeah. So I mean,
What do you
you
think?
know,
Is it getting worse, bad?
no, it's actually getting a little better. Bo-Katan
Really?
is just hanging out with him now, so we all like her. So it's
Yeah.
like, oh wait, how do we make it better? We do less about him and more about a cool character. Yeah.
Because I mean, let's just be honest. The Mandalorian story is only interesting up until the point he finishes the mission with Grogu. After that, he's just, from what I've seen, he's just flailing, like he doesn't know what to do.
Yeah. Sweet Tooth season 2 is coming. I didn't watch season 1.
Yeah, I didn't. I don't even know what it is.
Yeah. I think I do, but I'm good. I think I watched part of season 1. If that's the weird teenage like cartoon thing, then yeah, I watched it. Wow, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, if you're curious in it, I would watch.
I'm not. I can't
The
do it.
recap thing. It would be interesting to watch just the one that I watched. It recapped it all. It's so bizarre. It is so bizarre.
The problem is okay. So the problem is that we as emotional beings that we are, watching things like that tend to, and that just kind of goes into the play like we were talking about with, like, Facebook feeding you this nonsense, because back in the 90s when this all happened, Waco happened, like, dude, they were like, conspiracy tapes were everywhere. Like, I remember, like, my buddy's dad was like, dude, check this out. You he has a VHS tape that he bought that it was showing,
Mhm.
when the bullets were fired and arrows and all this shit. And it's like, when you go to dark places like that, dark things happen,
Yeah.
because it's very hard to separate yourself from the darkness.
And that's the
Um,
thing that got him was the people trolling him at some point. He was looking for a girlfriend this whole time. They were making fake profiles up as different girls
right,
and just getting him to send naked pictures and all this stuff. But he was on the spectrum of autism where he is high functioning, but he has
right.
trouble separating reality from what's really from fiction,
Yeah,
So
and you put that into a room of assholes, and guess what you get? Yeah,
yeah,
which there, so there again, it was like pre-Facebook and pre-YouTube,
right. Hmm.
so it was like, i- and there again, I know there's plenty of YouTubers out there that get great success and then just drop the fuck off because they can't deal with what comes with it. You
Yeah.
know, it's all the not it, and it's hard. It's hard. I mean, there's some days that you're just like, what does this guy say? Like, he totally missed the point. You know,
Right.
and
Yeah.
so like that's why for me personally, I don't comment much because I had to walk away from that. It's like, here's the content. I'm out.
Yeah.
Does it hurt the channel some? Of course, because you're not interacting with your audience. But there again, it's like,
Well, and
you
it
know,
just depends on the day. Like I'm lucky enough that my channel's small enough that I would say 98% of my comments are positive or constructive about retaining to the subject. But then, there's a day that the one bad comment just gets you. And like the
yeah,
dude, that's what he meant. And it's like, God damn it. Like,
yeah,
why am I paying attention to this at all?
yeah. None. It
Yeah.
means nothing.
Yeah.
So but you add that to an autistic guy that just doesn't understand him. Oh fuck, you're going down a rabbit hole, man.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. That's just bad. Yeah. So no, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need to. I don't need to feel any worse about myself. Okay. It's
Listen,
like,
I'll update you weekly as I
thanks.
finish these 78 parts.
Fuck that. No, that's ridiculous. So we got a couple minutes left. Is there anything that we should watch over these next 2 weeks that
Oh,
um would be worthwhile? And it's not, damn it, I keep launching the wrong freaking app.
I don't know.
Um,
It's so hard to pick once you had a good one.
but
Like I
yeah,
don't
but
know
I
if
mean, we
this.
equally have to find a crappy one. So, um,
Yeah.
I mean, I feel there has to be,
Did you ever
the
see this
problem.
murder mystery?
Murder Mystery 2. I never watched Murder Mystery 1.
Me
Um,
neither.
and I that looks extremely terrible.
Yeah.
Like it looks so bad. And the problem is that like all these are like serieses.
Hmm.
It's like I don't want to get that involved in some of this crap.
I
Oh,
did.
Agent,
Did you
like,
ever watch the '90s show?
yes.
You
Um,
did you
oh no, I watched the 80s or 70s show,
the
but not the
70s?
90s show. No.
Well, they done the '90s.
Yeah.
It's quick. It's like a quick hit. Pretty
Yeah.
funny.
So anyone, Agent Elvis, the cartoon, Elvis is voiced by Matthew McConaughey. It's fucking great.
Is it?
Oh, it's
I need to
fucking
heard.
great. I watch it when I'm at the gym. Um, I love it. I'm just like, this is
What's
the coolest thing.
Luther the Fallen Son?
So that is Albus, whatever, Dumbledore.
Idris Elba.
Yeah, Idris Elba, and he used to have a TV show called Luther in Britain,
Yeah.
and they finally, this is like the TV show for it. I mean the movie for it.
Movie.
So, I mean, I'm sure there's some backstory, but it's on my list I want to watch because I always wanted to watch Luther, but never got around to it. So I figured I could watch that and either be totally confused or. So
You
why don't we
check it
just watch
out.
that? Hmm?
Yeah, that looks good to me. Looks like it has
Yeah,
some action.
yeah. Let's just watch
And
Luther.
if it sucks, it's just par for the course.
Yeah, and it's off my list of things that let's watch The Thing because that sucked.
This is another one that I've heard people say are good that I might watch at some point.
Did you ever watch the Unbearable Weight of
That with Nick Cage and the guy that plays Mandalorian and
Unbearable Weight?
Last of Us Joel.
Hmm.
Nick Cage plays himself. A drug lord hires him to come to his island to hang out with him, and crazy shit happens.
Okay.
We'll check that out at some point.
Yeah, we'll just add that one to the list.
Oh, so
I mean, I'm sure it's no worse than the other crap Netflix is putting out. So
yeah.
There's a couple series I'm watching now, like Carnival Row on Amazon. Season 2 is out, so I'm excited about that. And then there's another one on Netflix, some other weird thing kind of like that I'm like, they both came out at the same time, and I'm like, so I've
been watching some Antiques Roadshow.
No, I don't know how you guys do it. I don't know how you do it. Like, I just, for the life of me, don't know how anyone can just be like,
because I'm on my phone and then I hear like, goddamn, $15,000 for that.
Yeah, you watch TV like Haley watches TV. It's like, I want to watch this. Well, then watch it.
If it's a show like that, I'm mainly listening, and then when something interesting happens, I'll peek up. Like, oh.
And to me, I'm going, hey, listen, I have an idea. I'm gonna watch something that I want to watch, and like she wants to watch the challenge. I'm like, let me finish watching this so I can get to work, and then you can watch whatever the fuck you want. And I'll just pop up every now and then and go, oh yeah, back to work.
Interesting, yeah.
So, all right, guys, that's it. Next week, like I said, I'll be out of town, so doing family stuff finally, so I won't be getting in trouble.
Yeah.
I will be getting in trouble, but at least it'll be with the family, so it'll all be bad. That's all I got. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. When we get back, we'll have watched Luther. We'll talk all about that. In the meantime, you guys have a great night.
Yeah, see you in a couple weeks.